trágico. ¿Hay otro herido ahí?
¡Ambulancia! ¡Ambulancia!
Aquí está muerto.
Ya, no lo levante ya, está muerto. Ya, déjalo ahí. Sí,
De acá su cabeza, por favor.
dentro de la cabeza.
Vamos a contarle a Goni las necesidades de Trinidad. Aquí los trinitarios necesitamos trabajo, necesitamos fuentes de trabajo. En las familias es una mesa vacía. Ya significa niños que no se sabe si van a ir a la escuela, porque a lo mejor es mejor mandarlos a vender picoleo, a trabajar. De aquí en adelante va a ser distinto. Sí se puede de otra manera. Vamos a escuchar al futuro presidente de Bolivia. Compañeras y compañeros, el problema número uno de Bolivia es la crisis económica. Por eso vengo aquí a decir que tenemos un plan de emergencia para parar la crisis, que sí se puede salir de la crisis y pronto.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo está? Gusto.
Señora, buenos días.
¿Puedo llamar a Mayor?
Sí.
¿Puedo llamar a Jeremy?
Ya, puede ser.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hey, Gunny, how are you?
Hi, I just, two things very quickly. I wanted to have some points related to the polls about what I should talk at each of these whistle stops, which we're going to do tomorrow.
You know, across every district, unemployment is the #1 problem.
Yeah.
Very little variation. Corruption is #2. Poverty almost uniformly #3. People have a strong sense that we had more accomplishments in the past. So, I mean, there's some openings here.
Right.
Hey, one last thing. In terms of next week, I think you understand where we're going to be when I come down there. It's going to be challenging, but there's clearly enough time to turn around.
Okay, well, let's hope it works out. Next week, we can spend a lot of time on focus groups so you guys can go around and seeing if we can find a way that we can revert the situation, because otherwise it's going to be nothing to do.
Okay, Gonnie.
As you know, we're a slave to strategy.
There's a firm called Greenberg, Carville, and Trump, which the idea is a full-service political consulting firm. We got involved in this campaign, and they hired the whole, what you call the GCS package, if you will. It was a kind of a international political consulting firm that comes to Latin America.
We choose and work with some of the most dynamic leaders on the face of the earth today, like Nelson Mandela and Ghani and Clinton. It's progressive politics and foreign policy for profit. In a lot of Latin America, there is not an established tradition of listening closely to the people, especially of not listening to the poorest or indigenous populations. It's like, why would we ask those people what they think? The whole thing we do and why we tell people to hire us is that we come in and listen very hard, very aggressively, with no preconceptions.
We try to work for people who are modernizers, who want to use globalization to expand prosperity in their countries. That's how I viewed New Labour in Britain. That's how we viewed Goni in Bolivia.
You asked whether it's fair to characterize us as an expression of American idealism, that we go into these other countries and try to help the democratic process. I hope so. I mean, in part, this is a business we do, and people to pay us to do this, so it's not volunteer and charity work. But for me and for my partners, we are in this because we not only believe in democracy, but a particular brand of democracy, which is progressive, social democratic, market-based and modern, but with broad benefits, and that's why we were in Bolivia.
So what went wrong?
Oh, look. What went wrong in the United States leading up to the Civil War? I mean, there are conditions that democracy ultimately can't deal with.
Welcome, and I want to compliment you on this report. Very good report that is terrifying. The only problem here is the biopsy. Is it terminal, or can we do something about it?
No, we don't have to change the way people perceive the country and the economy. What we have to change is what is at stake in the election.
What we'd like to start with is how to take any questions that come up, like the questions you got on TV this morning, and turn them to the message.
Always remember this, every movie starts out and there's a setup, then there's a conflict, and at the end there's a resolution. I read my children books of Winnie the Pooh, you know what I mean, and Tigger and Tiglet, you know what I mean, and somebody gets the honey and shit they bring in. This nation is now in a very precarious situation. We are surrounded by nations that are experiencing riots and coup d'etats. We are at a crossroads. Very simple, as you set up the Bolivian nation at a point of crisis, we're at a crossroads, therein lies the conflict, and we are running because we bring to Bolivia at this time the skills and blah, blah, blah that are needed to save it from this dangerous period.